So, I guess it's time to say hello, everyone. Is it? Let's see. Are we good? Are we actually good? Can someone tell me if we're good? All right. So, I guess we're good. We got 8 people here, and none of them are talking other than Aman. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you will have a wonderful day and enjoy it and celebrate it with your families if you're into that. And if you're not, celebrate it anyhow, because religions in the spirit, they're all good. They mean well. Now, if they're being used as a tool to inflict pain on others and control them, that's on them, not on the concept of the religion. So I hope that you will enjoy a positive atmosphere, a good energy around you with your family, and be healthy and blessed with whatever and by whatever you believe in always. So here we are. We have Aman says, hello, Aman says, how was your Christmas, Mirror? And I'll get to that in a second for sure. And AFX says, hi. Says, we good. Thank you, AFX, but let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And David Hart is here. Merry Christmas, he says. Merry Christmas to you as well, David. Dear David. And Don Ahmadi, Dan Ahmadi says, Salam Mahta. My name is not Mahta. Last I checked, I had a mustache. And Mahta, as I know, is a girl's name, isn't it? Or are you telling me that you are Mahta? Or, oh, I see, you just corrected it. It was a misprint, wasn't it? Now, Dan, let me know your age. I know the gender, I guess I can guess. Although we must be politically correct. Dan, what do you identify today as? I identify as a cup of tea. Anyhow, that's for fun. You can identify whatever you like. And we have XT says, hello, sir. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well, XT. And what is XT stand for? At least let me know your gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. I get to the questions in a second. First, I want to say hello. And Dan Ahmadi says, Mehram. Again, why do you keep changing my name? There is an N at the end, not an M. I'll get to your question in a second. Okay. And Aman says Mahta is his surname in India. And also a sitcom named Mahta. Yeah, there we go. AFX says, I'm currently in Ukraine. Ukraine! 46-year-old used to live in US. Ah, okay. Thank you for that. And Dan says, it was a misspell. I live in US, but I'm Iranian. Yes, I could tell from the last name. You couldn't, I could tell that. Now, let's get back to questions. So Aman, after his Christmas greeting, says, is your breakup handbook available in audiobook? Not audiobook. I don't have any of them available now. But there's a program that all you have to do is just, copy and paste or direct the program to the book, to reading the ebook, and it will read it for you. So I wonder, why do I even need to have it audio book while the programs can read it to you, can read any book if it's, I think, as long as if it's in ebook version. And Aman says, How to enjoy life if we feel always unlucky about life opportunity. Well, feeling unlucky, that's on you. There is no such thing in the world just because you feel something, then it's right. Then we get back to this all identity bullshit. I identify as a tiger today because I feel, wow. Well, that's my feeling. But that doesn't change the reality as what actually is. Hmm? So you feel unlucky. That's your feeling about your outlook and approach to life. If you feel unlucky, you're unlucky. If you feel lucky, you're lucky. It just switches this way or that way according to how you want to look at it. But I would choose to feel neither lucky or unlucky. Just do your best. You know, people always seem to be, not always, some people seem to be blaming their choices and their success or lack thereof on something in order to keep something else responsible and not themselves. It just feels better if I'm not responsible for every shit and mistake that I make. In most relationship, the ones who are breaking up always want to blame the other one. In a relationship, both of them try to blame the other one because it makes them feel better that they're not at fault. It was the other person's fault. But it's not truthful, is it? It takes two to tango. And one something I wanted to get to, which I digressed, and this is what I get. I don't remember what I wanted to say. Uh, um, the question was like, yeah. So anyhow, I forgot. It would have been interesting. Actually, it was a good train of thought. So you feel unlucky, and you want. Yeah, in life, people want to blame other side or something, so they would feel as if they are not to be blamed or responsible for that particular choice or failure. And it is very easy to turn this on life itself. I remember when I was in grade 2 or grade 4, we had a theater at school, and I was playing in a short uh, program, theater program, and all the parents were sitting and all that. And so the scenario was that there was a guy, it was four of us playing that role, and one was sitting on a throne, on a big chair, and at the throne, and was represented as life. Life. He was representing the role of life. So sitting there with his whatever scepter or whatever it is, and life. We're kids, but it was pretty deep when I think of it now. And then the first guy enters, we're all behind the curtain, and the first one enters and goes in front of the life and kneels and says, life. No, first stands and says, life. And his role was the fortunate man. So the fortunate man enters and goes in front of life and says, life, I salute you. You took me hundreds of steps high in life. I kneel before you. All right. So he goes out, and the unfortunate man enters. An unfortunate man enters in front of life and stands and says, life, you took me hundreds of steps down in life, and I am destroyed. I kneel before you. So the unfortunate man also leaves. And I come in. I had the role of fortunate and unfortunate. So I come in front of life. I said, you took me hundreds of steps up and hundreds of steps down. You must kneel before me. Think about it. Think about it. That's exactly what every one of us are. We are fortunate and unfortunate men and women. And we need to set the record straight in our relationship with life. It is not responsible in all cases. The choices we make and the efforts we put, it's got a lot to do with where we are, what we do. Certain things that is not in our control, such as health and all that, I understand that. We're not talking about. We're talking about when we are given the fair circumstances. So, in your case, thinking about why I feel I was, how can I deal with life, and I was all like, well, that's on you. Change your thoughts, change your feelings. Change your thoughts, change your feelings about these sort of things that are not detrimental to life. Now, let me make a record that I took my pill. All right. Now, where are we? FX says, well, FX doesn't say anything. Well, it says, I'm currently okay, good. All right, so next question is Dan, I guess. Dan says, important question. Every question is important, of course. Says denial. How do we, what? Denial or Daniel? What do you, so how do we grieve a relationship? Like, I'm 27 male, Irani, yeah, okay. Well, what do you mean how you grieve a relationship? You grieve because you feel you lost something, but the interpretation of the grief is important for you. You got to ask yourself, why am I grieving? Why am I grieving? You never ask. You just say, how do we grieve? How do we deal with grief? You never ask yourself, what's the reason that I'm grieving? What am I grieving for? Was she life itself in its entirety? Why am I grieving? That I lost a woman? What did I want her for? What was she doing for me? Inspiration of my life? Why? Why somebody else should be my inspiration? Why my duties and what I want to accomplish and what I want to give, the love that I have for my loved ones or for life itself or for myself? Why can't that be my inspiration? Why do I load what affects my life onto someone else's authority? So when they actually feel to leave my life, I have lost my inspiration. But did they have my inspiration to begin with? No. When they were not in my life, I had my inspiration myself. I had my inspiration for all other reasons. So they weren't holding my inspiration that when they showed up, I got inspired. No, I may be motivated about certain things, but I was inspired. I was living. I wanted to live and be happy before I ever met them. So why is it that when they come in, I suddenly hand in my inspiration to them, so when they leave, I feel devastated? That's on me. So what am I grieving? Was she The solution for the common cold? Was she paying my rent? Was she helping me to learn my studies? Was she helping me with my job? Did she find my job? Is she my boss? Does she pay my way? Does she put food on the table? What is it that I'm grieving? I'm grieving the need of my desire for pleasure. I'm grieving what I have created of her. Listen to me carefully. This chapter is going to go for a few minutes. It's important. What am I grieving? I'm grieving desire for pleasure that I created. What do I mean? Well, when I met her, she had certain disposition, attributes, physical, mental. We got to know each other. Based on what she portrayed herself to me, which at the outset, I don't know if that's true or not, that's how she portrayed herself to me. That's how she wished me to get to know her, on the basis of the information that she was giving to me through her mentality, behavior, actions, words, and so on, which I have no idea if that was her. But that was what she wanted me to see her as. Based on that, I created an image of her in my mind. I created. Remember what I'm saying. I created an image of her in my mind. The way I would have liked that to be. The way I would have liked my girlfriend to be, or the prospect to be, is how I created her image in my mind. So I fell in love, so to speak, or lust, or got used to the image that I created of something, someone. Not her. I didn't fall in love with her. I fell in love with the image I created of her based on my interaction and based on the information she gave me and the behavior that she portrayed, whether it was true her behavior or it was a come on or it was a theater. Everybody has an image of themselves in their own mind, and they want other people to see them as that image that they have of themselves in their own mind. She had an image of herself in her own mind. She portrayed that image in certain way that she wanted me to see her in the same image that she had created of herself in her own mind, but that was not necessarily herself. It was her preference. I then made an image of her based on her preference. So that's a third-hand personality and information. She made an image of herself based on how she wanted to be, but she wasn't necessarily. And I made an image of the information that she gave me based on the image she had created in her own brain. I'm in love with a woman that doesn't exist. But I created that image of her in my mind. And since I created that image, then I believe that that image is accurate and is truthful and it's fact. How can I not? I created it. I created it based on my belief, because I believed that's what she is. The information that she's giving me is accurate. So based on that belief, I created an image. So I am now in love with an image that I believe in. Why? Because I created. I can't lie to myself. I have no such intention. So I'm oblivious if that actual image is real, that I created is actually her, real or not. But I believe it's her. Why? I created it. And I don't intend to mislead myself. So I believe that that's what I have created. That image is truthful, is actual. So I'm now in love with this character, this beautiful princess, this amazing goddess that I created based on my needs, based on the information, ingredients she gave me, which that was also full of shit to begin with. No doubt. Nobody represents themselves shitty, even though we all have shitty sides. So I created a pure, amazing image of a woman that I wanted it to be, and I fell in love with that. But that was just an image of her. But because she has a physical shape that I also liked, the characteristics that I have given to that physical shape in the form of an image in my mind seems to be accurate as well. Why? Because her physical appearance is truthful, is fact. So what I gave her, the aura and the characteristics and personalities and the amazing attributes that I gave to this physical, actual presence also seems to me as factual because her physical appearance is real. So the attributes I gave her is also to me is real. So that whole what I created, that image to me is not an image, is her. Because the brain cannot tell the difference. And because there's a physical entity involved, it believes that physical entity and the characteristics is created out of her in as an image in her brain is all one. So it's one actual existence and representations, a living entity. That's what I'm loving, which other than her physical attribute, none of it is real. But I'm in love with that image. Now, when she leaves, I am grieving for that image that I was convinced it was the truth. It was her. It was my desire. So I was actually in love with the desire that I have created. So I was actually in love with fulfilling my desire. I was in love with my own desire. And I wanted to please that desire. So what I'm grieving is something that never existed. And I'm still believing that that existed. Now that it's lost, that it's gone, I'm lost. But when you come to it, that what you loved was not real, was your creation of an image of a person without really knowing exactly that who that person is. And once you actually got to know her as time passed, you could see the contradiction between the image you had created of her and the actuality of her. That's why you broke up. So wake up and smell the coffee. That's the first beautiful day of your life that you got the truth that this wasn't what you had created. Therefore, you're now free from bondage of something that really didn't exist. Now you go on and select better this time. So you're grieving for something that you created, an image you created that thinking that is lost, you never had it. You never had that image, a person with that image and characteristics, to now grieve that you've lost anything. You just come to realization that that person was not the right choice for you because it didn't have all those attributes that you had used to create that image in your head about her that you fell in love with that image. So it's all a matter of believing in what you had created. And since you had created, you cannot believe that it was a false. And the continuation of this belief makes you grieve. But once you realize that this whole thing that you had created had no real actuality and precision into it, then you will realize you haven't lost anything. You lost something that didn't exist and you had created a desire out of it. Now you can see you're free and you can now be wiser and choose better this time. Grief is unnecessary once you realize what you're grieving never existed and never had the qualities that you had bestowed upon that image that you had created of her in your mind. Capiche? Now, think about it when I upload it. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. After all that serious talk, let's see what you guys have said here. And XD says, well, in my language, my name Christian means Christianity. And is written, it starts with the letter X. And my surname starts with D. I'm from Bulgaria. Oh, and I'm 17 years old. Interesting, interesting. Thank you for that explanation. Bulgaria, it has a positive connotation for me because when I was in Iran and I was a young man, I just come out of the army. I'd finished my university. I went back. Then I went to the army, and I was a second lieutenant in the infantry division. And I had finished my training program, and the revolution took place. Revolution took place, and the king had left, and the streets were without protection. Police was not functioning, and we, bunch of people who had some, I don't know, sense of duty. In my case, I would be walking the neighborhood throughout the night, like 3, 4, 5 in the morning until morning, to keep it safe because there was no control. Thieves or murderers or whatever could have attacked any house. There was no, it was a revolution time, it was a mishmash. And one of the posts that turned out to be our post with a bunch of other people was Bulgaria Embassy. That we would gather there with our weaponries, and we would, once we got weapons, at the beginning we didn't, and we would control the area, keep it safe for the neighbors. And the Bulgarian cook of the embassy, every morning about 5 or 6 o'clock, would bring us yogurt with rice and sweetened. I think that's a popular thing in Bulgaria, if I'm not mistaken. And it was so delicious. Rice, yogurt, and sweetener. I don't know what kind of sweetener. It was just delicious. So it has that positive. And I remember once we had a Jeep stop by. It was a mishmash at the beginning, and it was some guy, few people with guns in their control, and they were supposedly pretending or claiming that they are the leaders of the area and they want to take all the guns away and who are you and all that. So we had to have some maneuvers because we couldn't trust anybody. Who's who? We don't know who's who. And that also happened when we were in the Bulgarian embassy. It was interesting time. So you're from Bulgaria. Welcome. And Dan says, let's say you're in with a toxic person and we did our best, yet we still grieve or feel lowered. Yeah, I just explained why. So we did answer that. Yeah, okay. Good. And Tukas Kowalski says, hey, it happens all the time, bro. Okay, who you're talking? Okay, you're not. Oh, so he says, hi, Mehran. Lucas here, male, 34 years, Poland. Hello, Lucas. Says, I broke up with my girlfriend more than 2 months ago, but I still remember her personality, the good things. How do we deal with that? Well, when you think of the good things, which is natural, enjoy it, but quickly When you finish enjoying the good memories, bring about the reasons that you guys broke up, the incompatibilities, and remember that those incompatibilities still exist regardless of what good memories you have with her. Simple. And most of the time, when you go into the memory, you're not going in there because of choice. You're going there because you have no other choice. What I mean is that brain, mind, in this case, I call mind and brain the same, but they're not the same thing. They're totally different. I just for the purpose of conversation, I use the same. Human beings, since millions of years ago, always been in pursuit of security, both physical security, and when we eventually had the brain that was capable of thinking and speaking, then we were also in pursuit of psychological security. Now, our body physically defines security through a secured environment. In other words, for me to feel secure, I see, okay, my ears are here, my arms are here, my legs are here, my limbs, my body physically is here, and then I'm in my apartment, the door is locked, and I'm in good part of town. So secure and safe physical environment creates a secure and safe safety for my physical portion of my entity. But my brain doesn't find security in the same way that my body finds security in a safe physical environment. My brain finds security in order of life. The order of life has been certain mechanical processes that have been involved in my life. I get up, have my tea, go to university, go to work, go to whatever it is that you go to, and then meet friends or have lunch or go here, hang out here, go to the gym and meet your girlfriend or whatever it is that you do. These are all mechanical processes through which you create a routine, and that routine creates the order of your life. Mind finds security in that order, the way things are done. When you break up, your order that you had was made from activities and mechanical processes of two people. Before you met her, you had your own way of creating and doing things during the day. So you were the only one who were creating your order, initiating all the mechanical processes, and that would be the order that you could switch, change according to your will. But when you got to know her, your order was infringing on her order, and her order was interrupting your order until you guys compromised and came to a unified, compromised, certain set of things that you would do during the day as a mechanical process. And you had created a routine in which then eventually you created an order of life. Now she's left, so the order is broken. The one thing that the brain finds security in, the order is broken. You cannot fix it because it was made by two people. The part of her that was contributing to the order, to the routine of things through the mechanical process, maybe you guys would text each other, go places to each other, go to movies or dinner or gym or this and that and other activities. It was part of two people's activities and attending to the mechanical processes to create that routine, to create that order. And your minds would have found security in that order. Now that is broken, you cannot create that order and continue that order because part of it was being managed by her. So the mind doesn't find security. But where can it find security? In the memory. Because we are recording machines. We record 24/7, everything. And the brain knows that what it needs for security is the order, and that order resides in the memory in the form of recording. Everything is there. And the brain, living in a virtual world, cannot understand the difference between virtuality and actuality. So it will keep going into the memory, as in the memory, the order exists and recorded, and it finds security in that order that exists in the memory. That's why you keep remembering the past, because your brain is trying to find security, and it goes in there, finds it, and stays there. While it's staying there and finding the order and feels safe, who else is there? She is. It's part of the memory, part of the order. And the brain doesn't understand that's fictitious, that's memory. It's dead, doesn't exist. It feeds on it and stays there and reacts to everything that is happening in the memory, and it can remember in the recording. One of the things that she's there. When she's there, there's a file that has the prerequisites for desire to be born. Because I have a video here that explains what is desire, how it is born, how you can stop it. And there are prerequisites necessary for a desire of anything to be born. Those prerequisites that have been met in the past is also recorded in the memory. So when you're there for the brain to find the order and feel secure, the brain notices her. When notices her, the file that has the prerequisites for desire to be born also is triggered and opens up. And since all those prerequisites have already been met, you desire her again. That's the problem. So the key here is not to be in the memory, not to end up triggering the prerequisites of the desire file and end up desiring her again. How can we do that? Well, why does the brain go into the memory? Because it's looking for security, and through order it finds security, but the order doesn't exist in the actual world. It goes into the memory and it can't tell the difference. It finds the order in the memory and it feels secure, and the rest of it opens up. The Pandora box opens up. So what do we have to do? Not to go into the memory. How? We need the order. Well, gotta now start creating a new order by finding other mechanical processes, things that you like to do in life, new projects, new studies, new friends, new associations, new activities, which then it creates a bunch of new mechanical processes, which creates new routine, which through the new routine, in a short while, you will create a new order. And that order exists in the actuality, and the brain no longer needs to go into the memory to find order, to find security, because you have created a new order, and the brain finds security in the order that exists in the actuality of life. And that's how you avoid going to the memory and seeing all those tantalizing things that you feel. Then it affects your emotions, and then you get horny, and then you feel this about the sexuality, intimacy, and all that, which is another story that drives you nuts and takes the control away from you. Now you know. All right. Emmanuel, I basically explained why you're, in other words, having a hard time to move on. Again, because the image that you created of her, and that image is not compatible with the actuality of her. And you, like most of us, you make that mistake, because in all cases, we get to know that person through the image we created of that person in our mind, not through her, because they themselves are not honest to actually come up with exactly what they are. And that takes time. And during that time, we either find that, oh, our image that we created of her is correct according to who she is, or we find out, oh, that is a discrepancy between what I thought she is and what she actually is. And that took a while, but now I know. And that is when you have to now make adjustments. So that takes time. And at the beginning, while we're falling in love, we don't have that time. We don't let that time pass, then fall in love. We just fall in love before we have really concluded our investigation, so to speak, through a negotiating time, through interaction with her for a while. and then we are in deep trouble because we already made up our mind that she's the right one, and we've been carrying on that way until one day we realize there's so many things happening that is not the image that I created of her, and she's different than that. So therefore, now you have to deal with it. So this is the same thing. You got to focus on who she is, not being bogged down with what you created of her in your mind, and stop missing what you created of her in your mind and focus on who she actually is and has been. And what you had created of her in your mind was a mistake, was a wrong image. And that was not representation of her, true representation of her. And in that way, you need to realize that and focus on that, that what you're missing, what you're having trouble to move away from is not something that is palatable or is accurate, is a fictitious character that you created of her. And now you constantly are confused because she's trying to feed you information that, again, fortifies the image you have created of her or doesn't let you to have a correct image of her. So you need to focus on the problems that she brings, on the shortcomings that she has, without interference of your need for sexuality and intimacy with her, which pulls a wool over our eyes and our feelings and our understanding and correct adjustment or analysis of the situation. You should be able to come out of the intimacy need and focus on her character as a human being, and then see if you want to have any intimacy with this human being's character. And if you have not had her pass your standards, then no longer you will find it reasonable for you to want to be intimate with some woman that is actually not meeting your standards as far as you expect a good partner, a good human to be. And you got to come up with all those facts that you focus on rather than the images and the desires and the urges and all that so forth. Once you separate those, then you can see logic of not being with her and moving away with her from her, instead of the need for intimacy and all what you've been used to, the order and so on, keeping you involved and not freeing you from moving away as far as you can from her and from the relationship. Well, I have a video in regards to selecting the right girlfriend. But these are personal things that you can figure out what are important for you. But you got to educate yourself as far as the role of the brain and role of your desire, role of your fears, role of your thoughts about what perfection is in your mind about a certain relationship. And you figure all that out. And based on those facts, then you go on and approach and see if this girl qualifies or not. Can't just qualify a girl based on one part of your many needs from a woman, uh, aesthetics, sexuality, I don't know, smile, the sound of her voice, her hair, and walking, moving, the way she talks and walks and acts and behaves. These are part of this whole thing. But what's the content of her consciousness? How is she raised? What is her philosophy about life? What does make her happy? What makes her bring more of a good energy into the relationship than just being there and seeing what is being offered to her for her to enjoy and just be so deep into her own ass that she can't even see you, let alone what's necessary for the relationship. These are very important. There are many women who are just all into themselves, that their ego has taken over, that, I walk in somewhere, everybody looks at me and all that shit. That kind of a woman is too much far deep in her own ass that she cannot ever see what's needed for the relationship and what your needs are and what are the balance in this whole thing, as if she wants to be in a relationship with someone. DC says, Merry Christmas to you and family, Mehran. Thank you very much, DC. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. And hope that you will be blessed, and you are blessed if you are having your family around you and having a good day and good energy surrounding you. XT says, yes, it's called literally milk with rice, and sometimes on top of it, we put cinnamon. Yeah, that's right, cinnamon too, I guess so. And it's really good. It is, isn't it? It's amazing. It says, but sir, I'm sorry, I have a question. Okay, sure. It says, can HOCD make thoughts that try to control you? Of course, that's what HOCD is. You believe your own thoughts. That's a problem. Thoughts are a secretion of the brain, and most often, 99% of them, they're irrelevant to you. It's got nothing to do with you. It's a brain's production, not your production. It's brain's choice, not your choice. And brain doesn't know what the hell it's actually producing. It's a machine, it's an organ, and its job, like every other organ has a job, is to make thoughts. So it makes thoughts with all kind of information that seep through the consciousness. It picks up and runs with it, but it doesn't really know who it pertains to, what it is doing, what it means, and certainly it's irrelevant to you. It's a brain's malfunction and brain's production, not your choice of that production or that feeling that the brain induces into the body to feel that way. That is not your choice of feeling. That is how body reacts to thoughts that the brain signals to. So it's the malfunction of the signaling system of the brain. It's not malfunction of your gender. So relax, just learn how to rewire the brain and help the brain to come back to its default setting, whatever that setting was for you, before you end up noticing HOCD and having to deal with this sort of stuff. I have put a video on based on Dr. Schwartz's 4-step that deals with OCD and OCD subsets, which can be used for many of these OCD subsets, such as HOCD, pedophile OCD, harm OCD, responsibility OCD, religiosity OCD, all kind of OCDs, including the physical obsession compulsion OCD type, like washing hands, touching light switch, and so on and so forth. But it's also usable for the similar kinds of other subsets of OCD. And that is called the 4 steps. And I have explained it. Also, the text is available that whoever makes an appointment with me to discuss this further, I'll also include the text that I've prepared on that 4 steps from Dr. Schwartz, and I can share that text that I have written down from his presentations, and have a video that comes along with that explanation that I've explained the text. So that will be helpful for you to use it as a tool to help to rewire your brain through neuroplasticity. And remember, guys, I will soon be increasing the consultation fees from the site. So if you want to take advantage of it, maybe if you need to talk to me, go on my site, mind@6truth.com, make an appointment for Skype consultation, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Okay, mind@6truth.com. I put the link down here for you. Orlando Osuna says, hi, Miran. Orlando, male, and 45 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you for that. It says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, Orlando. It says, the holidays are tough after breakup. Yeah, it sure is, isn't it? That's for sure. So I've been broken up for 7 weeks now. I feel very angry at my ex, yes. The answer to most of all these questions today, I already gave it in detail at the beginning of our conversation, which I will upload it today right after we're done. And then you'd be able to have it as a separate. Later on, I will cut it and have a separate video and why you cannot move on from your breakup. And that I think that's a very good little bit that we just talked about, and it will help many people if they can realize what they're really going through and why they cannot easily move away. And says, I feel like getting even at for being a liar. Yeah, well, that happens. Cheat, devious, and for her betrayal. I want to find a valuable woman, but they are very hard to find. Yes, it's true. Everything valuable is very hard to find, especially in the Western world. It's true. Are we going a losing battle? No, you will find, but you will also must remember that you don't tell your story to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, in this case, Susan, Janet, and Jill. As soon as you meet them, because you spend that energy about telling them about yourself, you feel like they know you and you feel they're valued. You qualify them based on what you describe of yourself to them, rather than letting them to show you who they are by their mentality and reactions and negotiations of daily lives when you go outing, do something, and with their mentality and the content of their consciousness. Instead, you decide that you want to like them based on the efforts and energy you spend on them and the attention you give them. That attention seems to be justifying them to be qualified enough to be your girlfriend. But that's your attention you're giving them. Who would not like an attention? That would be pleasant when you give them attention. And that pleasantry represents to you that they're good people. Not necessarily. Most people are jackasses. They're there to make themselves happy, to see what's in it for them. They're not there for you, not at the beginning. Later on, when you guys bond on conscious level and fall in love on the deeper level, and then you can see if she's there for you, and she may be there actually because of you, because she loves you. But at the outset, none of that is known, but you assume that she's there to make you happy. No, she's there to make her happy. Everybody who enters into a relationship, they're not there to make the other person happy. Sometimes it happens, but most often, each one of them are there to make themselves happy. So you better make sure that she's happy before she comes to the relationship with you, and you're happy before you go into a relationship with her. So you're not going in there for her to make you happy, and she's not going in there to make her happy. You're both happy and you go in there. You have a life, you have a certain order of life, and you've taken care of the basics. And then you're there to see how you can be compatible rather than expecting the other person to make you happy. And when they don't, because every human being is selfish, most important person in each person's life is who? Is themselves. So you expecting her to come into relation to make you happy, you're an idiot, like every one of us are. So first make yourself happy, then go into a relationship, and then you can imagine her behavior and assess her properly rather than assessing her based on the needs that you have that she's fulfilling. For example, you have a need for companionship, she's there. So you say, well, she's qualified. You need for intimacy, she's there. Well, sex, who would not like that? Well, she's qualified. These are your needs that you're qualifying her because of the needs that you have. You're hungry, you go sit on a table, they bring food, say, oh, this is the best cook, best thing, best person. No, you were just hungry. You got to see that person's qualities are based on her negotiation of life, based on how she interacts with life, what decisions she makes, what behavior she has, not based on the fact that, well, you needed intimacy and she could provide it. So that makes her a wonderful person. No, she just gave you what you needed. You're hungry, she's cooked food, and therefore you think, oh, she's qualified. Well, you're just fulfilling a desire for sustenance. That is not a quality that you should consider solely based on that to consider a qualification to be in a relationship with her. So your needs are not her qualifications. Let's put it this way. She's pretty, you sleep with her, you want to have a pretty girlfriend, therefore she's qualified. Well, she meets your expectations of aesthetics. But just because you have sex with her and it makes you feel good, that doesn't make her a qualified person to be in a relationship based on her mentality or behavior or philosophy of life. No, it's something that you physically enjoy. Well, you can get that pleasure from any pretty girl that meets your standards. So your desires and your needs are not the qualifications that you should be looking into or instruments that you would qualify your woman, however, your relationship, your partner. All right. So I really appreciate. David says, did I answer Olanda's? Yeah. David says, male 31, Italy. Buongiorno. Is it? No, it's buonasera. ¿Cómo stai? Feliz Navidad? No, that's that's Spanish, is it? Well, I'm trying. Says, I really appreciate how you explain things. David says, and one video that really helped me is the love of your life. Do you know her? Is the best for me. Yeah. That's a good video, I must say. Dan says, well, true, everyone is different, so we can't ask the same question for everyone. But as you said, there are some women who have poison. So how do we vet them to make sure we don't get entangled? Through time. That's why you try not to fall in love based on your needs and your intimacy desires. Because intimacy with a woman is very important to us men. As soon as we're between her legs, suddenly the world is different and she's the most beautiful and amazing and sought after and qualified person in the whole entirety of the world. Why? Because at the time of ecstasy, at the time of climax, at the time that we are totally one with the woman, there is nothing in the brain. There's no movement of electromagnetic in the brain. The brain is totally calm, fulfilled, confidence level is high, there's no thoughts in the brain, and you have nothing and you have everything in life at that very moment. That's the moment that you have no pain, you have no debts, you have no worries, you have no concerns, because there's not a thought in your brain. You are one with the universe, one with the nature, and it's all energy and nothing else, and nothing seems out of place. She can bring that. Not necessarily her only, but sex, intimacy, climax. And because she can provide that and you're getting that through her, she becomes your goddess. And you forget that that feeling is because that's how you're made and that's how she's made. It's not her personal doing, it's the way she's programmed. And that's the way you two are connecting. And any other woman that meets your aesthetic expectations can provide the same kind of climax and oneness with the nature and freedom from all pains in universe. So, if you base her qualifications on your needs, that's a wrong way of qualifying her. If you base her qualifications on your pleasures and desires, fulfilling your desires with pleasure, that's not her qualifications. You're going on the wrong track. She may be both. She may have all those qualifications plus an amazing person, but that is yet to be known, to be found in time. So you need to have enough time and enough wisdom not to fall in love based on her fulfilling your needs and your intimacy needs and your other psychological and emotional needs, and qualify her on the spot that because of all these things comes from whenever I'm with her, therefore she's the right person. That could be one of the many qualifications. But to know her consciousness is to spend time with her, and that takes time, in real seeing how she negotiates with society, with communities, with where you go, with the activities that you go, how she negotiates the day-to-day life, how she interacts with other people, other challenges in life, and all that, and how she supports you, how you support her, how unselfish she becomes after a while, and how selfish she becomes. All of that becomes apparent in time. And negotiation of her through life will be showing you in time what her consciousness is made out of. Then you can combine her physical attributes and the needs that she can fulfill, which is all fine, bonus, but then also plus the content of their consciousness being compatible with yours and your expectations and yours with hers. Then you can make a decision that perhaps I can trust until she has not changed, as long as she continues this rhythm of her living and interaction with me and consciousness, I will then fall in love with her or allow myself to fall in love with her. Before this stage, you should consider it all infatuation, lust. She's great, she's amazing, I have a good time with her. That's it. Not that, she's the choice. That comes in time. Your needs are not her qualifications. That's pretty much sums it up, I think. XT says, okay, sir, really thank you. You're welcome. Orlando Asuna says, also at 45, I do feel sometimes that time is not on my side. Then what would you do if you were me? Don't focus on your age while it is there. Focus on meeting women and letting them see who you are rather than knowing you by the number beside your person. Because that deprives them from the opportunity to know you as a human being, as a person, as a soul, as the energy, as the wisdom. And they rely on the stereotype that they have of a certain age, difference between them and certain age, which does not really represent. In most cases, could be in some ways somewhat accurate, but not necessarily. For example, in my case, I'm 67 years old. I bet you any woman, if I'm on a dating site, anyone who sees a 67 will pass me by if they are in shape, good looking, and educated and of good caliber. They will pass me by because it's a 67. The guy is just old. But I go to the gym, I'm performing much better than 35, 40-year-olds. and I've got things to offer. So, and personality and knowledge and so on is part of my character. That cannot be represented when the age 67 is beside me. So, so naturally, you should think of the same thing with yourself. You got to meet people so they could see your soul, your energy, your qualifications, your expertise, your fitness, and everything else that you do. Your energy is the most important. So if you want to describe yourself by age, well, that's a mistake you're doing because you're instigating that to be a representation of you. And if you instigate that, I bet you the others will see you the way you see yourself. And that's the beginning of all fuck ups in not in your favor, against yourself. And says, my age, I'm mostly disqualified for marriage. No. A man in between 40 and 45 and 50 is a choice of a woman of 26 and up to about 40 or so. You're at the best time of your life, so don't sell yourself cheap. And women that are available are in their 20s. Some seem too young and immature. Yeah, the 20 is too young. But there are 26, 27, 28, 29, 30s that are really mature and looking for a mature and experienced man. And they don't want to be around younger men who are not having their act together, they're not serious, and their children still mentality is not mature. They can't make good decisions, and women are looking for a someone who can lead them properly. Otherwise, they can lead themselves. So, if they want to choose a man, they want the man to be capable of having some wisdom and experience and some a career, some ability to provide, and so on. And then they are more than happy to be with that man and they want someone who is older than them in most cases. Forget the feminists and all that bullshit. Let them go and find their own life and their own um, uh, ego is their own partner because they just want to pretend that they can do anything that men do. Well, then great. There are things that we men cannot do as good as the women do, and there are definitely things that women cannot do as good as men can do. And thinking that we are the same is bullshit. It's just fooling yourself. We're two different energies. We are all completing each other. We each have our important places in the universe. And the women who think that they're better than men or they can do what the men can do, they're stupid. And the men who can think that they can handle everything as a woman can do and the things that women can do, they can do it too, they're stupid too. We are here on this earth to complete each other. Without each other, nothing goes. Nothing really is balanced. So all these feminists, in my opinion, with the connotations and the definition of the feminism that they have, which is not about equal opportunity, it's about equal outcome. Like they expect everything they do must be represented or appreciated or valued the same as if a man does it. It's as stupid as a man thinking that everything that they do is as accurate or as pleasant or as precise as things that women are experts in. So this both are stupid in thinking that way. But as a companion, as a formula that completes each other, that's then we got a symphony going. Lucas Virvila says, damn, this just now hit hard. I don't know what. What hit hard? Phoenix LT says, kinda did the same mistake when I decided to date my ex when I used my needs as a qualification tool. There we go. And Ujat Ujata Karok. Ujata Karok Kill. I hope I didn't butcher the name. Says, thank you for everything. You helped me so much this summer. going through my breakup. You're quite welcome. Let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And Phoenix says, "Them, I see my mistakes now." Yeah, okay. Says, "How I don't choose the correct people now." All right. Omar Bracamonte says, "People keep talking about sexuality changing. It scares me because I have issues." No, it's bullshit. HOCD is a mental thing, and you got to deal with it, understand it, and through education and understanding what components of the brain are involved and the malfunction of the signaling system. It's. I've got hundreds of videos on the topic, so you can just go through them. Go on my search engine of the channel and just write in HOCD, OCD, or HOCD, like one of the two, and you will see so many. And then from the titles, you can choose what can kind of help you for the question that you might have. And remember, guys, if you guys can't find what you're looking for in the videos, or you simply need to speak to me personally, by all means, go on my channel, go on my site, www.mindthatseekstruth.com. I've put the link up there, and make an appointment for Skype chat, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. And by the way, I did tell you, didn't I, that my fee is going to go up. My program is working on it. When he finishes the program, and I will ask him to increase the prices. My prices are very low, and most counselors and most people who have this knowledge to share are charging like $400, $500, $600 per hour, and mine is 100. So I think we're going to go a little bit better to be able to justify the efforts and time. But in the meantime, it's still 100, and you guys can take advantage of it if you wish. Column Haig says, oh, okay, yeah. Talking to Omar, that's good. And P. Irlo says, "Hi, Meran. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well." Says 34 male here from Sydney. Australia. What is it? Australia. That is 344, the 3:30. That's 12 hours, 3:30 in the morning. That's another 7. That is 10:34 over there, a.m., is it? So I guess it's the right time for you guys on Sunday, yeah? Is it Sunday? No, on Monday. Today is Sunday. And it says, "Do you think a girl who used to date a few guys for attention and validation for herself, for her self-esteem, is able to have a healthy relationship?" Of course of course. What the fuck you talking about? You think you haven't slept with other women? But we fall in love, and we don't give a shit about all the other women. Of course you can. I don't care what her intention was. Some just do it for whatever reason. I don't care. What it is that's sex. That's intimacy. That's physical thing. It's not love. It's not mental. It's just something for whatever reason some people do. So relax. Of course. Get to know her. Love her. Respect her. And people are not just bodies. All right. XD says, "Can HOCD fade away little by little, because I have it for a week now and I learned how to deal with it with the 4 steps, and I feel better and better every day. But sometimes I still have the thoughts." You can have the thoughts. Everybody can have the thoughts. You can create the thoughts. The thoughts can come up and show up. The thoughts could be here, could be there, could never be here, never. It doesn't matter. It's fucking thoughts. You have to understand the concept, the fact that it's thought makes it irrelevant. The fact that it's thought driven, thought based makes it irrelevant, not the fact that it shows up or it doesn't show up, so I'm okay, but it shows up, I'm not okay. No, you're okay all the time. You got to learn how to deal with brains malfunction and creating thoughts that is not in line with your values, because it does that in every brains on this earth. It's not just for HOCD or OCD or for you or me or this and that. Every human being on earth has intrusive thoughts. But because caudate nucleus and striatum is working, functioning perfectly, when this intrusive thought shows up, it just recognizes, you say, oh, that's a nasty thought, and shuts down and goes away. But the OCD brain has a bit of a challenge in getting over that initial, because they're so in tune and so protective of it. When it shows up, they latch on it. What the fuck you showed up? What do you mean? What does it mean? Interpretation. All that shit causes it to linger further. So the fourth step also tells you to switch the energy to something positive, and then rewires the malfunction of the brain to function as it's designed to function, which is see the glitch, move on. Not to say, oh, the glitch is me. No, that's delusional. that's a problem, that people get deeper and deeper because they keep trying to deal with it rather than understanding that this is a thought. Thought is irrelevant. Thought is nothing to do with me. It's brain's thought, not me, because I'm not the brain. Brain is not me. Therefore, I'm not the thought that the brain makes. It's irrelevant to it. But because it's mounted on your head and it's produced in the screen of your head and you become aware of it, you think, oh, it must be me. No, brain is not you. You're not the brain. Why? Simple. We live for millions of years instinctively, like animals. Run, hunt, sleep, have sex, have food, and no thinking. Why? Because we had no ability to think or speak. But we lived long before we were given this brain, which was only 40,000 years ago. Until 40,000 years ago, we were living like animals. No intrusive thoughts, no HOCD, no nothing, because these are all thought-based. But once we got this brain, 40,000 years ago, we were able to think and speak. The problem started. What? Because these are all thought-based, and when these information seeps through the brain is designed to do something with it, makes thoughts, and these thoughts, many of them are intrusive. That's why we have a mechanism to shut down the intrusive thoughts. When it doesn't shut down, malfunctions, OCD, HOCD, and so on, and many other routes for continuing doing OCD rituals to create psychological security for ourselves. And these are all different routes for it. But it's all irrelevant. This is not you. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. Because this brain was added to you 40,000 years ago. Before it was added to you, you were living fine. So this brain has good points. It's sophisticated. It can help you to achieve the things you want to achieve in life. But it also has malfunctions, like any other electronic system, any other system, any other organ. Malfunctions. But we understand malfunction of any other organ, like, intestine gets diarrhea, and we understand that. We don't say, oh, diarrhea, I've been a diarrhea, I didn't know that, I'm in denial. No, we go and find remedies to fix the diarrhea because we know this is not me. And the liver and the kidneys, they get malfunction. They say, oh, I've been like this all the time, or I'm changing. No, it's in malfunction. We go get homeopathic medicine or whatever medicine we got to get, and we fix it. We try to do our best to understand this is a malfunction. It's not me. But when it comes to brain, suddenly the brain is fucking up all the time. So, that's me. No, it's the same shit. It's malfunctioning. You got to now learn it and teach it and help it, because you're the boss. You're the owner of all these components, all these organs. And when they go malfunctioning, you take responsibility to help them, to fix them. The brain, the same. You're the boss of the brain. You're beyond the brain. According to the experiments and the reports that Dr. Egnar made on the findings of the brilliant surgeons and neuroscientists and neurosurgeons, such as Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield, Dr. Owen, Dr. Leibet, that the experiences that they did in their laboratories and their, in their expertise showed clearly that you're not the brain, brain is not you, and you're two different systems, and you are given all the information that you need to understand that there's no relevancy to the intrusive thoughts in you. It's just that what the brain is busy doing, and you got to help it to repair it and to help it to, through neuroplasticity, to fix this glitch that it has. I forgot what I wanted to get to say at the beginning, at the end of it, when I got to the experiments of these doctors, but anyhow, it slipped my mind. So, and that's what you do, and that's how you deal with these things. Yeah, so, your brain makes 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, and they're all irrelevant to you. It's not your choice because you're not the brain, and brain is not you. You got to remember that. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. Before we had capabilities to think, we have no problems because these are all, thought problems. These are all just fictitious. But it's so powerful, brain, that can affect the body to react to the thought. And when the body reacts to a thought, because that reaction is visible, tangible, and noticeable, we then think, because the reaction is real, we can see the reaction that is instigated by the thought. Therefore, the thought, the idea that is representing the suggestion that it comes through the thought, that's also accurate. No, brain is powerful that through thought can make the body react in a certain way, whether anxiety or the limbs or the reaction of some kind or the feelings or emotions. That is not an evidence that the thought is accurate about you. It's just the way the brain works and has powers to affect the body to react to what it forces the body to do, or affects the body, influences the body. Capiche? All right. Pirlo says, yes, 10:34 a.m. Monday. Yeah, okay, good. And Scarface. Oh, Tutu Scarface. Okay. Says 100%. I don't know what that 100% is for, but thank you. Okay, guys. It looks like we have been 1 hour and 29 minutes. It's time for me to say, I've answered all the questions, I believe. Let's see. Okay. So this time for me to say, I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. Merry Christmas to all of you. Hope you will have a great evening and day and holidays, and be safe and be positive and enjoy your family's love and be around them. And if you're not, well, I'm your family right here. We are all here together. So that's why I put this up, to make sure that nobody is feeling lonely today. And we're all, after all, part of the universe, part of nature. And when our energy is the same energy that flows through the universe from one end of it to the other end, and we are one and the same in that meaning and in that ingredients, which is energy. So feel confident. You're not alone. You're with the whole entirety of the universe, and all our energies are feeding each other and interacting with each other. All right, guys, if you guys have any other questions, you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, www.mindthatseekstruth.com. Make an appointment and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Have a wonderful day or evening, wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.